Good morning, club at Horseshoe Bay members. Welcome to Fitness Friday. I'm so glad to be here today to talk to you about the ins and outs of resistance training, because I get a lot of questions. How many reps should I do? What's going on? Should I do a lot of reps or fewer reps with heavier weight, lightweight? What's the deal? How should I do this in a way that's going to allow me to achieve my goals? Well, before we get started, I just want you to know that if you haven't been lifting weights, then you have to start out with light weight. You simply must, because you're going to find some ouch points. It might be an elbow or a knee or a neck or a shoulder, something like that. And when you find those, when you discover those points that then you need to work around them a little bit, and you need to make sure that they're okay before you add heavier weight. And sometimes you don't even know you've got an elbow problem until you start lifting weights. And so it would be better that if you start with light weights, more reps as a result of that, and then go from there. Now, when you get to the point where you can do, say, heavier weight, and you're not hurting, and you're sort of torn between the idea of doing heavy weights or lightweight, it all comes down to, what do you want to look like? What would your ideal physique be? Well, there are two kinds of muscle, and choosing how you lift weights, heavier or lighter, will determine what kind of physique you develop. Now, so let's think about, and I'm going to sort of draw an analogy from something away from weightlifting for a moment, but when I return, I promise you'll have a better understanding, because this really does illustrate the point well. There are two types of muscle fiber. You have strength fiber, and then you have endurance fiber. Thinking along the lines of strength fiber, I want you to picture in your mind a sprinter. A sprinter, they look like little supermen. They have muscles, and they're ripped and they're cut, and the muscles they have are quite dense. They look athletic. If you saw them in the grocery store, you would know, hey, that guy or gal is an athlete. And that's because you get that kind of muscle by doing very explosive work. That is, exercise that you are absolutely pooped out within 20 seconds of starting. You give it all. You're either going to live or die in these next 20 seconds. That kind of exercise gives you that kind of look. All right, now let's talk about the other side of the coin. That is the marathon runner. Now, if you were to run into a marathon runner out on the street, you might not even suspect they're an athlete. Yeah, you'd know they're thin. But the kind of muscle you get from doing endurance training, that is stuff that you can do for an hour or hour and a half or 2 hours, gives you very blood-rich muscle so that you can keep going. But it's not the kind of muscle that is bulky. It's not the kind that most people, I guess, look at and admire and say, oh, wow, that's an athlete. It's very much there. It's just doesn't have the shape and size, and for many people, the aesthetic appeal of the strength fiber. And so let's bring it back to weightlifting. If you want that bulky look, if you want to be strong, if you want people to admire your biceps or whatever, then you have to train more like the sprinter trains. And that is, do enough weight. And in other words, you might only be able to get 8 or 10 reps in, because the weight is so heavy that you simply can't do another one. For that, you will be rewarded with bigger muscles, stronger muscles, and more ripped muscles, and it won't take long at all. If, on the other hand, you are just looking for endurance, you don't care a thing about whether someone can see your muscles or not, but you know you need to work out, and you know you need to do some resistance training, then err on the side of doing some lighter weight. Now, some people aren't interested in that. It doesn't keep them interested like heavier weight does, because they feel like they can do it all day long. It's kind of a yawner for them. But if that is what you prefer, then that is the body type that you can expect to have as a result of. And so thank you very much. I hope that explains it all. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks a lot.